Awesome. So we are live here. So welcome to another episode of Live Big Data, Big Questions. Today is a special episode. Honestly, I wasn't going to record to go live today, but I decided to because I thought it'd be great to share an epic fail that I had. So before we start, let me share this out on Twitter. And talk about how I messed up and ordered the wrong camera that cost me a little bit of time and frustration. So, all right. So I've been wanting to try to increase just the video quality and test some things out for Big Data, Big Questions and just see, okay, is there a better way that I can start recording and can I do higher quality videos? So I was looking at some stuff on TV using the Fire app where I could look at YouTube, and I just saw some of the different qualities of the video, and I was wondering if I could. So I ordered like this amazing, and you can like rent. So there's like websites out there that you can rent different cameras, and so I thought it'd be good to rent a camera versus just purchasing a camera, right? Because I don't really know much about cameras, which you're about to find out here just a second. So what I did was I ordered a camera, and then also I ordered a microphone. So I've been testing out because the way that I have to do the microphone right now, it's not really the way I want to do it. So I was like, all right, yeah. So I'll test out this new rig. What I didn't know or didn't pay attention to was a lens. Like I don't have a lens. So and then I actually put the battery in and tried it because I was like, well, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't be the best quality, but I could test it out. And no, so I've got the camera for like a week and I didn't order a lens. So obviously I don't know much about cameras, and I'm sure it was on the website and in the directions. But, one of the things that I try to do sometimes is like, before I talk myself out of doing things, I try to rush to go through and get them to go through. So like I said, I ordered the camera. It came in yesterday afternoon. So I came in this morning and popped it open and was not able to record, but I'm going to continue to try to record. But I don't know. That's just, I thought it'd be good to try to test, like I said, a camera out because I want to up my quality, but we all make mistakes. So I just thought, I don't know, man, it's just, I'm still going to record this weekend, so I'm not going to give up, but I definitely won't be recording in 4K or even higher quality 1080p. So, that's one of the things about testing some of these things out. But you can use this example, and this applies to anything. You can use this to whenever you go through is, hey man, don't quit trying to make improvements and trying to learn new things and try new things out. And you're going to fail, but don't let it kind of collapse you. So like I said, pretty bummed out about that, but I'm still going to record some of those questions that I've gotten in this week. So let's jump through and start answering some of the questions that I've gotten this week. So I'm going to go into the community site here and refresh that. Just a second. One of the questions I know I was looking at this morning was around data engineer versus DevOps engineer. So kind of my thought process around, which one is better. And it's always hard to answer a question about which one is better because it all really depends on what you want to do, right? So, I'll say right now that I'm not going to make a stance on which one is better, but I'll explain some of the different options for each one. So this question comes in, says, hi, Brandon. I think they meant Thomas. Maybe maybe I need to make sure my banner shows up as Thomas Henson. But hi, Brandon. I liked your explanation. Can you please suggest which one is better? DevOps engineer or data engineer profile in terms of future scope and career growth. So like I said, not going to say which one is better. It's all going to depend on what you want to do. But I will say, if we're just looking at contributions right now, so if you go and look at like Dockers and Kubernetes, there's so much more community support and people involved in that community than even the Hadoop ecosystem and Spark. So if you just look at the number of contributors and what's going on from that perspective, there is a lot more contributions there. Doesn't make Docker and Kubernetes and those pieces better. It's just there's a lot larger audience, it seems like, in that area. There's still a huge audience in the Hadoop and Spark and data analytics space. One of the things that I will say, so if you're looking at one of them and you say that you choose the data engineer path, choosing the data engineer path does not lock you into doing Hadoop for the rest of your life. Like, things change, right? Like, I started out as a web developer, so I mean, you change over your career. I think if I probably had to choose like which one would have the most career opportunities, right now I might be leaning towards DevOps as far as that, but I don't think that going down the DevOps path is going to stop you from getting into the data engineering path. And then specifically, I really think with what I've been watching and what I've been seeing for the last year to 2 years around DevOps, I think that you're going to see a lot of blend over there too. And so if you look at just some of the announcements with Hortonworks and Cloudera, there are a lot of things that they're doing from a container perspective. So even Hadoop 3.0, it's when they really started, from an open source perspective, started really looking at how they can start supporting containers and containerization. So you see the writing on the wall there for the ability to do that, right? So when you think about Hadoop, we used to be, we put it all, ran it on commodity servers, right? And just, on bare metal. Then now we do virtualization, and then containers are really taking over. So all that being said, like if you're interested in containers, like you can actually do the containers and some of the DevOps portions from that in the data engineering role. And then if you find that, hey, there's more career growth, or you just want to be flexible, you can blend over and go both ways. Now, if you're doing more of the data engineering path around like Spark development and that kind of piece, and less of maybe the administration portion, there's not as much crossover. But once again, it doesn't stop you. Like you said, I started out as a web developer. You can always course correct and change different directions. So all that being said, you just have to find out what is most important to you and what you want to do, and not worry about 2 to 3 years down the road. All that being said, I mean, I've said it many times on here. There's still people out there that are Ada programmers, right? And they're still in their career and they're still doing it. So you just have to pick a path. And I know it's hard, right? When you're looking at it, you want to make the best choice, and you don't want to look back and feel like you made a wrong choice. But it's okay. And we learned today, mistakes are going to happen, right? Once again, no lens. Like, really? Like, I didn't pay enough attention. Like, I feel whatever. So. Another question. So I learned the Hadoop framework. What should I do next? So this comes off my best way to learn video, but it's, hey, I've learned the Hadoop framework. What is something I want to learn next? This is where you really get to choose a path, right? This is where we talk about, if you're more administrative focused, then maybe you would want to learn Mbari, the things, portions about standing it up, even start getting into some of the containers that I was just talking about in Kubernetes and seeing how that kind of rolls in. But if you want to go more the developer path, then I would definitely look into Spark next, or maybe even Flink. Just pick one of those. I will say Spark's more popular, but Flink, there's a lot of popularity around there and some similarities. So pick one of those and start learning. Take 30 days, set aside 30 minutes a day, and start learning some of the things. There's some simple examples that you can go through. I think I'll have a video series coming out in the next couple of months around Spark and some of the things that you can do there. So feel free to take that on. Another question I got this week. Does one need to have a computer science degree to become a data engineer? No. And I did a full answer on this when we're talking around machine learning engineer with a college degree, but same thing applies for data engineer. So, maybe 10 to 15 years ago it was a requirement. I definitely went through and, I went through the degree process and graduated with both my master's and my undergrad. But that computer science degree is not necessary, and it's not necessarily something you always have to have, right? So just know, if you're, obviously there's some places that, they have that as a requirement, but it's not always a requirement in every role. So just gives you the ability to be able to do it. If you don't have the degree, just to understand that maybe you want to focus more on certifications, or if you already have that job experience, that'll help out a lot too. So I'm just giving you that option as well. So probably wondering what that is in the background. So I don't always record, but this is my daughter's dog. So this is Sprinkles. So Sprinkles, say hi to the camera. So a lot of times whenever I'm programming or if I'm shooting videos, I'm generally trying to have him out of here because he really makes a lot of noise. But Sprinkles is my cube mate. So whenever I'm working in the home office, he's normally at my feet here and making noise or trying to get me to pet him or trying to jump in my lap. So dogs that program, maybe that would be a new YouTube channel for me, right? So another question. So I had a question when we were talking about the 2019 goals around, all right, really how useful are the certifications for data engineers? And so really they were saying that, hey, certifications are generally frowned upon and actually show that you're not right for the culture fit. But I'm guessing it's different for data science and mostly working at large corporations or smaller corporations. They don't care as much. I just say on that question, and you can kind of go back and look at my response on it. But, I don't think that a certification is ever going to hurt your chances at landing that next big role or moving into it. And really, when I talk about certifications and when we look at it, those are great, especially like when we talk about like what Hortonworks or Cloudera or AWS or Azure. They put out what the broad sense of what you should know to conquer this, technology. So like from a data engineer's approach, Cloudera or, GCP, Google will say, for a data engineer, these are the broad things that I think you should understand and learn, right? So a lot of times it'll be like from an AWS perspective, I know it's like, you need to learn Kinesis, you need to learn DynamoDB, you want to know how EMR works, be able to run Spark jobs, but then also, hey, how does S3 incorporate with it? So it gives you that broad perspective on what you need to know. And then now whether getting that certification, it's not going to guarantee anything, right? But it is going to set you aside. It is going to say, hey, this person knows from a broad perspective. And it's really helpful too, if you're trying to transition roles. So maybe like we was talking about on the LinkedIn profile video, if you don't have that experience, how you can transition to be like, hey, I don't have that experience from a work perspective, but these are the things that I've been learning on my own. And so it goes back to, being involved in open source projects and other kinds of things. So if anybody has a question that they want me to answer, throw it in the chat here and I'll make sure that I answer it. Also, let me know if my sound is good by giving me a thumbs up or just letting me know here in the comment section. But I'm going through and answering questions from this week. And then if you're just joining in, go back and watch the earlier part of the video. But I came out here to record this morning with a video that I had just looked at, or with a camera that I just ordered, and there is no lens. So hey everybody, thanks for telling me that the sound's good in the chat. Like I said, still going to record some videos later on today, but not with this amazing camera that I had rented. So going through, anybody have any questions or what's everybody learning today or looking at? Just let me know. Yeah, I know. I can't believe the camera. So I wasn't going to do a live session today because I was going to wait and try to do it tomorrow morning. But I thought it would be good. I thought it would be good to kind of talk about an epic fail I had. And so just let me know. And if anybody knows anything about cameras, and if you're watching this now or watching this later on, put in the comment section below about how dumb I am, and maybe give me some advice for understanding that before renting a camera, I have to have a lens. Like it wouldn't even record. So, oops, got to make sure I keep this intact because I got to return it. So, more questions from this week. Why should data engineers? So there's a question I had around some of the courses and some of the certifications that I've been working on in my 2019 goals. It says, why should data engineers be doing deep learning courses or machine learning courses? So last year, I threw Andrew Ning's Coursera course on machine learning. And then this year I'm focusing on the deep learning portion, a little like, it's like a micro certification. And so, I don't think, you've heard me say it on here before. You don't have to understand, you don't have to know the algorithms in depth. I think it's good for you to understand, especially the ones that you're using. But traditionally for a data engineer, that's you're not going to be the one recommending any algorithms, or normally that's not your role. But oh, hey, how's it going, man? Let me fire back. There we go. As a data engineer, you're not necessarily going to be in that role, but I think it's good to kind of have an understanding. And really, part of my focus this year is really watching what's going on in the Hadoop ecosystem and finding out how it's kind of converting over into the deep learning space. So that's one of the reasons that I'm going through and learning it. And then also too, it's just a little bit challenging. Like, I'm not suggesting that I want to shift to data science. I really love the data engineering side of it, but I do want to understand a little bit more what goes on from the data science perspective and everything from that area. So, some of the things, like I said, a lot of the things that I talk about and recommend on here, they're not necessarily, I'm not saying everybody has to go through them and do those, but these are just suggestions and new areas to learn and research as well. So what are you working on this morning, everybody? So is anybody learning anything different today? Has everybody done their 30 minutes of learning, or jumping into Splunk today, or setting up the Hadoop sandbox? I mean, there's no college football, there's college basketball, but so more questions. So I've answered this one before. So this question comes in around books, the books that I've read. So last year I went through like 22 different books. A lot of them technical, a lot of them around deep learning, and some of the other areas of technology that with data science specific. But this year, I'm really kind of doubling down on learning more in the AI space. And so there's some good books. Maybe I should do a video on some of the other ones. I was just watching a TED talk of somebody who was talking about deep learning. What is my favorite programming language? I don't know. I guess it would be my first language. I don't know. Maybe C# is my favorite. I don't use it anymore, but I would say Python is the one that I use the most now. I will say probably out of the languages that I've used and programmed, I will tell you my least favorite too is Java. So, but I mean, sometimes you have to do it. So, but I mean, if I'm comparing C#, and it's crazy because C# is so close to Java to some extent, Java just seems so much harder to me. But Python's probably the one that I use the most right now, though. But C# still my favorite. But I don't think I've written anything in C# in, I don't know, maybe 4 years. So C# yours as well. Are you looking at Python? Have you done anything in Python? Python's kind of fun because it's more. It just seems a little bit easier. It's more kind of scripting. So. But a lot of the tutorials, and even the last, so I just did a Pluralsight course on TensorFlow. And so it's me taking a data engineer's approach to, hey, I'm coming from the data engineer perspective, and I'm jumping in and learning TensorFlow and kind of go through that in the course. And so I kind of take my approach to it, and it was all in Python. And like I said, it was super fun because if you followed any of the things I've done around Pig and Pig Latin from the Hadoop ecosystem, like it's awesome to be able to take 40, 50 lines of code and be able to run it through and be able to build a model out. I mean, it's crazy. And once again, that's why from my research perspective, like I said, I think we're going to see an uptick for sure this year. Like we've got Project Hydrogen, Rapids from NVIDIA is a library that's taking advantage of GPUs. And then Submarine. I just saw some things come out around Submarine from Hortonworks. So you're seeing a lot of projects where we're going to bridge the gap between those libraries. So I think it'll be good for people to learn. I don't think it's a requirement or anything like that. So I think, let's see, yeah, we're kind of rolling down here. If anybody has any more questions, I'll go ahead and answer them. But if not, everybody enjoy your weekend. I will go back to trying to figure out how to record without a camera. Well, without a lens and a camera. So sorry, anybody that was wanting 4K video. What book am I reading right now? All right, so I'm working on 2 books right now. So let me look. So I do Audible. So if I'm in the car, if I'm on a plane a good bit, I try to make sure that I'm reading a book there. But let me see if I can get this to come up without playing. So right now I am reading, or I'm listening to Principles by Ray Diallo. I think I said that right. So I'm reading Principles there, and then also, or listening to it. I'm almost finished with that one. And I'm listening to, or I'm reading Walter Isaacson's Benjamin Franklin book. So if you've read Steve Jobs' autobiography, or not autobiography, Steve Jobs' biography, it's by Walter Isaacson. So he does an amazing job. I will say the book's like that thick. I bought it used at a crazy discounted bookstore. So I try to listen to one book and then also read a book at the same time. So those are mine. Those are non-programming right now. I've got a couple other ones that I'm looking to get back into. One of them is, let me see, since we're talking right now, I might have it right here. Let's see. Let me see if I can put it in. Yeah, the AI SuperPowers. That's one. So when I should finish Principles this week, and this is the one that I'm going to read next. Let's see. I'm going to put it here in the chat for everyone. This is the one I'm recommending, and I've got some coworkers that are doing it. It's not an affiliate link. It's just an Amazon link, but it's the AI Superpowers, China, Silicon Valley, and the New World Order. I'm going to say the name wrong. I'm sorry. Kai-Fu Lee. So he's got an amazing, I'll put it in the chat too. There's an awesome YouTube video, or it's a TED Talk where he talks, and he just did an interview. He just did an interview on 60 Minutes where they did a little segment on what he's doing. And so it actually got passed around a good bit at work. And I do a newsletter at work. And then I actually passed it around because I just think it's super cool. So hold on just a second. Let me see. Right here. Awesome. And so here, yeah. So I'll make sure that I put this down in the description for everybody watching this at a later time, these two links, but the AI Superpowers, but go watch the YouTube video. It's less than 15 minutes. How many hours do I read? Really, it depends. And like I said, I'm throwing in Audible. So I've done Audible for, man, I looked at it. I think, let me see. So Audible, my listening time, and I've been doing Audible for years. I used to have a really long commute, but just in time that I've listened to books, I've listened 1 month, 8 days, 14 hours, and 56 minutes. So I would say with reading just books and listening to books, I mean, it's probably anywhere from 5 to 10 hours. And that doesn't include like a podcast and everything like that. So that's one thing that I really got pretty good at. Like I said, used to have a long commute. And so I used to really take advantage of, the time that I had in the car. Cause I always kind of looked at it as a weakness, like, oh man, I'm in the car for an hour or an hour and a half or, whatever. And so what I started doing was really trying to fill that time by increasing my knowledge versus just listening to, the music or sports talk radio or whatever. And I still listen to sports talk radio to some extent, but I really try to set goals every week for how many hours or how many books I'm going to listen to or like podcasts too. So right now I've been going through like 3 different podcasts, just making sure that, I'm kind of increasing. So that's one way that, you can really scale up if you start looking at it. So, if you did 3 podcasts a week, over 52 weeks, that's, over 150 podcasts, even if you miss 2 weeks there. So just a good opportunity to go and learn. And same thing with books. So, but man, hours reading, I don't know. I mean, I'm always reading like a white paper or something like that. But just start small if you're looking for advice. Don't feel like, oh man, he said he does 5 hours, or this person says they do 20 hours. Like just start small and build on it. Like I said, I did a video where I talked about just doing 30 minutes a day. Like if that's your target, and I'll be honest, I don't always hit it, but if you make that your target, man, things will really start to roll. So if there's not any more questions, gonna head back and answer some more of these questions on video and edit those and try to get those out for this week and next. But if not, thanks everybody for tuning in. If you're tuning in later, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. And if you have any questions, put them in the comment section here below. And if you want to make fun of me for not knowing how cameras work when renting and ordering your camera, that's fine too. Thanks everyone. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks everyone for watching.